right, well, welcome everybody to Inside Out, Knollwood's monthly webinar series. For those of you who are just joining, thank you for coming in. Today we have a fun program because you're going to be meeting some of the people who live at Knollwood. Today's webinar will be recorded and it will sit on Knollwood's website. So if you can't stay for the whole program, or if you want to rewatch it because we're so terribly entertaining, you may do that. Past episodes are also recorded, so you can watch other episodes of Meet the Residents, and it will be totally different residents on every single episode. Or we also have some educational webinars about Knollwood also posted. But welcome. My name is Carol Ann, and my partners in crime today are Heidi and Elise. Elise is behind the camera. Heidi's got the cue cards. And if you have questions for the residents, then what you're going to want to do is either type, well, you'll want to key them in, and you can do that by hovering your mouse along the bottom of the screen, and you will see either a chat box or a Q&A box where you can key in your question. Your questions can be directed at all four of today's resident guests or specific ones. And let me introduce. So to my left is Nancy Boyd. And to my immediate right is Monty Shower. And then next to him is his wife, Bev. It's okay to speak. And then to my far right is Jim Joyce. And I'm Carol Ann. So welcome. If you want to rewatch this webinar, or if you know somebody who wanted to see it and missed it, it's on the website knollwoodcommunity.org. Anyway, so first what I'd like to do is, now that we've introduced everybody, I'm going to start with Nancy, but Nancy, what is your favorite thing to do at Knollwood?
My favorite thing to do are some of the athletic programs. I love the pool. I like the artistic and cultural shows and events they have, and the musical programs are wonderful. And I like the residents. They're very welcoming and warm and friendly.
Did you know anybody before you moved here?
Yes, my brother lives here, and that was a draw.
Okay. And is it also yoga class that I see you in from time to time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And how about Monty? What is it you like? What's your favorite thing to do at Knollwood?
Well, I have several things. They have an exercise room, and I use that 5 days a week, trying to stay in a little bit of shape. Your Knollwood is situated right across Oregon Avenue from Rock Creek Park, and you can walk there easily. They've got a paved path through the park that you can walk on, and you can walk and walk and walk. They have deer that just roam the area. Sometimes they're on Knollwood's land and that. So and the bird population, they've got a good bird population here too.
So you're kind of a birder?
Sort of, yeah. In my earlier years, I used to be a duck hunter and a goose hunter and partridge and grouse and things like that. So
I've seen turkey at Knollwood before. Now I don't. Does that mean you're still hunting?
no, I stopped that a number of years ago.
How about you, Bev? What do you like to do?
Well, there are a lot of things here to do, I will say. You can stay busy every minute of every day. As I told the group earlier, that I really appreciate the chapel being here. That we do not have to leave the building to go to Sunday service, both Protestant and Catholic. And Carol Ann says there are Jewish groups and other groups meeting also that I was unaware of. But that was certainly a drawing card.
And how about you, Jim?
Things I like to do are meet the diverse population. And everybody gets along so well here. Everyone talks to everyone else. So that's,
You mentioned earlier, actually, I think both of you did, we were doing a little practice, but you mentioned the men's discussion group. Do
oh,
you
yeah,
participate?
very interesting. There are a lot of educated people here and people with educated backgrounds. So we have a discussion group. In fact, it's so successful that the women are starting.
Yes, and I hear the women, well, I know you have your own facilitator for the men's group, but the women's group, I guess, is gonna be facilitated by a woman of NPR and Scripps broadcasting fame.
Yes,
Oh,
And then,
very good.
but it's always interesting. Always something to talk about.
someone actually just sent us a question. How long have you lived at Knollwood? So we can do each of you, and we'll start with Jim.
I here first of March last year, so a little over a year.
Okay.
Seems like it's been a lifetime.
Is that good or bad?
It's good, it really is. You're so comfortable here.
How about the two of you? I know you moved in at the same time.
We came here, June the 23rd of last year, so not quite a year.
What's the anniversary?
But I will say that it feels like home. And I think that not only is attributed to the people here making you feel at home, but your mindset too. You have to know that this is where your home is, and it just is wonderful.
And I've lived here about as long as Jim, a little over a year.
And there are many people who've lived here longer too, and they'll meet those if they watch the other webinars, or better yet, come in person. Right, because a lot of times when people come, not usually the first visit, but if someone's coming back for a second visit, or maybe someone has joined our waiting list, we often will arrange for people to meet residents personally without us having lunch or dinner with resident groups. So, okay. I'm gonna ask each of you, many people think that you have to have served in the military to live here. But Nancy, did you serve?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Monty, did you?
I served, yes.
I did not.
And how about you, Jim?
I served, I was in the Coast Guard.
Okay, yeah, so there are people who have a military connection at Knollwood, there are people who have no military connection. There are people that ran businesses, or librarians, educators, and there are people who have military family, people who don't. A lot of government service here because we're in DC. What are your favorite things to do outside of Knollwood? Anyone?
Well, I have a daughter here, so I get to see her, go to church with her. The mall is endlessly fascinating, the Smithsonian, all the various events they have down there. Great restaurants, theaters, fun things to do. What, you're never bored in Washington DC.
That's true. There's a lot of fun things to do here. How about any of you?
Well, I have a daughter and grandsons here, so I spend a lot of time with them. It's probably my favorite thing to do. It's one of the reasons I moved here.
I know sometimes I see, I know you have more than one grandson, but you have one that goes to St. John's College High School and stops in on his way sometimes.
Yeah.
What are your
We
favorite-
too moved here because of family, and that's what we enjoy doing, is getting to be with grandchildren that all these years we've never had the opportunity to do before, so.
Yeah, we have the opportunities to spoil our grandchildren here so that we can get even with their parents.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Where did all each of you move from?
Well, I came from California, so it was a long distance move.
That sure was. Yeah. Where did you grow up in the West?
I grew up in the West.
Okay.
I came from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
By way of Connecticut Avenue.
Yes,
Right here in DC.
after my wife passed away, I moved here to be closer to family. It
And
was a
then-
good move.
And then you moved from Connecticut Avenue even
Over
closer.
here, yes.
Except now I understand you're a little further from politics and prose than you used to be.
A little bit.
That's a bad thing.
Yes,
That's the downside. And
You take this question.
Well, we moved from Marietta, Georgia. We spent about
55
yeah,
years.
65 years living in Marietta, Georgia. So, all in the same community, there. And, we enjoyed it very much, but, with getting up in years, we just needed to move closer to family, and we're close to, our son and his family here, so it's spoiled grandchildren time.
that's so nice. Somebody wants to know, what tips can you give someone who's moving to a place like Knollwood? Any tips?
Throw away half you have. And get rid of what you really don't need because
exactly. You'll find out there are a lot of things you have that you don't need. I think I brought a chair, something else, but that's about it.
Well, I would say, look around, go to others, check with other residencies and get the feel of it. The thing I like about Knollwood was it was instantly warm and welcoming. But I did check out other facilities and I think that helped make my decision.
Bev and I were fortunate in moving in that our daughter is an architect in New York City. So she came in and looked at everything and said, okay, this should go here, this should go there, here, would pick out stuff. So what we brought fit perfectly, but it wasn't jammed in by any means.
I've been to your apartment before. It is comfortably and beautifully set up.
thank you.
You're welcome. So then, somebody asked, how long did you wait to get in to Knollwood? And someone else, and that same person said, did you look at other communities? And why did you choose Knollwood? Oh my gosh, there's a lot of questions. So, I
Well,
guess you
yes,
already
I
said
did
so,
look at other
yeah.
facilities
Mhm.
and I like the feel here and it's not small, but I didn't want one of those great big ones with, high rise. And just seemed to fit.
the two or three of you.
Well, our son and daughter-in-law actually looked for us since we were in Marietta. And my daughter-in-law would call after each visit to a facility and give me her opinion. And after they came to Knollwood, she said, I'm ready to move in. So after that comment, I felt, well, maybe that's good for us too. So we came down and made the tour, came up and made the tour and decided.
After my daughter and son-in-law looked at various places, my son-in-law, after they looked at Knollwood, said, this is a resort. This is a place to go. So,
I do have a beautiful setting here.
yes.
Well, and you did ask about how long the wait. My wait was about 6 months.
Mhm.
Same for us.
Yeah, it's gotten quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
At the beginning and of COVID and whatnot, we did have some shorter wait times. But now I think 6 months to, how long would you say, Heidi?
18.
Or more, can be. The bigger somebody wants, the longer the wait, for sure. And I give a plug, it's never too soon to join the waiting list at Knollwood, but it can be too late for many reasons. Somebody wants to know, do you still cook or entertain?
Well, I cook most of my meals.
I'm coming over.
The kitchen is certainly more than adequately fixed up. All the appliances are new, which is lovely. So, but the dining room is also good and friendly.
I do a lot of cooking at home also, mainly because we were probably used to some southern foods that are not available here. They just don't do black-eyed peas.
Yeah.
So, I agree with Nancy. The kitchen is wonderful. Mine is large and have plenty of cabinets for the dishes that I have.
The floor plan that we're in is much like the house we lived in Marietta. And that we open kitchen, it's, you know, you're right close to dining room where you've got your table set up and the living room is right off that, well, it's like home in Marietta. So,
Do your grandchildren come over and eat with you?
Oh, yeah.
oh, yes. Yeah.
And how about you? Do you still cook or entertain?
I cook a little bit, but just a little bit. If you taste my cooking, you do what I eat in the dining room often. I always have breakfast there. Always very good.
Yeah, I sometimes see your grandsons with you in the dining room.
Yes, yeah, they like it. Knollwood.
What did you tell me earlier about your grandsons and when their mother's cooking?
Oh, when they don't care for what their mother is making, they come down here and eat what's making.
They do have good hamburgers here.
Yeah,
Well, and another nice thing is you can order from the dining room and take it out on the patio, which is really fun. And I think you mentioned earlier in the summertime, they have outdoor dining on the patio or at Knoll House, and that's lovely.
Why did you choose? I think somebody already kind of asked this. Why did you already choose Knollwood? We'll ask this question. What size apartments do you live in? Somebody's asking.
I live in an efficiency apartment. When my daughter told me I was gonna have an efficiency apartment, a one-room apartment, I said, I'll be changing my mind out in the hall, but it's not like that. The efficiencies are very adequate.
And what size are you two in?
We're in a 1-bedroom, but it's large and it's plenty of room for us. We live in one that has a strange configuration because of a stairwell in between, an outside stairwell, in between the bedroom area and the living area. And it's this neat little room that we couldn't figure out what we were going to do with. I thought about a day bed in there. We've finally called it the puzzle room. Because we didn't know what to do with it, and then we do work jigsaw puzzles in it. And we also have a desk in there with a computer and just miscellaneous things we didn't have anywhere else to put. So we still call it the puzzle room.
Puzzle room.
Well, I live in a 1-bedroom and it has a bath and then a half bath, huge kitchen. Everything I need. It's bigger than I thought it would be.
Your apartment is also lovely in its appointments. The way you have it set up, it's not cluttered or anything. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And I look out over the front door, which is fun, but into a forest. I love that.
And the apartments at Knollwood for the viewers range in size from just under 600 square feet to over 2,500 square feet, almost 2,600 square feet. So a lot of different shapes and sizes, and almost no two apartments at Knollwood are alike, which makes it very unique.
And if you're on the first floor, you have very high ceilings, which makes it even more spacious.
That's true. Do any of you take any art or writing classes at Knollwood, or even not at Knollwood?
My wife was an artist. And she had all the talent in our family. So,
So you've never tried it out.
I don't, but I'm friends with someone who does and really, really enjoys the art community. And they do have art shows, probably once every 3 months or so. And they are well done, and I really enjoy going to them.
The extent of my art is with the pencil. I do pencil.
Pencil drawings.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. What subject matter?
Anything,
Landscapes.
landscapes, a lot,
I'm gonna check that out.
still life.
How about any art or
No, I
writing
am
classes?
artistically challenged, but I am an appreciator.
Somebody has to
Why?
appreciate, that's what I do, yes, yes. Someone says, Beverly, can you hear noise from the stairwell? Or Monty?
Occasionally we can when it's very quiet, like at. When you go to bed at 10 or 10:30, I think the people who have helpers. The helpers probably use the stairwell when they come and go. But other than that, we don't hear people talking or anything like that.
And this question is kind of unusual. How did you deal with bad air? I guess someone's talking about the code purple that was here last week, and hopefully most people closed their windows.
I went home to California, so I avoided the whole thing.
Did you? Yeah, so I don't know that Knollwood has air purifiers available, but each apartment is self-contained. So, if you weren't opening your windows, I think people were doing pretty good. And there is every apartment here also has I don't know what it's called, but it's venting that takes air out for circulation. So, probably how did anyone in their house, deal with it as well? So, yeah. And hopefully a lot of people maybe chose to stay in that day and not walk around, but there were a lot of people out in public. I saw people riding bicycles with masks on, and Heidi, you did that. Yeah. Here's another question. Have any of you found a favorite restaurant in Washington, DC?
There's so many restaurants in Washington, DC, it's hard to pick one that would be your favorite.
It's according to what food you enjoy.
Yes.
Well, and there's a huge array of different cuisines. You can
Yes.
choose from many.
Well, you did mention restaurants. Do you go out often with your daughter? Yeah.
We went to the zoo one morning and then went to this fabulous hamburger place across the street. And after church, we usually go to a taco place and get Mexican food. So it's just endless.
Yeah, I like the Daily Dish that's on the other side of the park.
Oh,
And then there's a place called the Park.
Parkway Deli,
Yes,
Where is
Great.
it? Someone needs to tell me.
it's very
great
close.
sandwiches.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of food there. They have like all these different menus. Like there are some items that they have that are kosher, I think, and they have items that you can get everything from a sandwich to like different entrees and soups. If you just actually Google Parkway Deli, it's on Grub Road, so you have to kind of cut through Rock Creek Park to
It's
get
an
there.
appropriate name.
Yes, Grub, it is. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I sometimes will walk through the park to get there.
Okay.
So it's
Parkway
about less
It's
than,
right through Walker.
yeah, it's probably like less than 3 miles back to do it that way, but I think if you drive, it's probably still less than 3 miles.
Silver comes to my mind
Oh, the
as a
Silver
good place
Diner?
to, as a good place to eat.
Yeah, there's one up on Connecticut Avenue. Is that the
Yes.
one you go to?
Yes.
There's one on Wisconsin.
That's what I meant.
That's
Yeah,
right.
as you're heading toward Georgetown,
Mhm.
but probably,
Close to the giant.
yes. Yes, there are lots of restaurants. This question is, did you have a chance to meet residents before you move in?
Yes, I had lunch with 3 fellas before I moved in.
Okay. So I don't know if that was too faint for people to hear, but Jim said he had lunch with 3 different guys before moving in.
well,
You-
and you bring people by to see apartments, so you get to meet some that way.
That's true.
And also I've had lunch with the prospective new tenants. And that's
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so because the apartments at Knollwood are all lived in, once we've already met a prospective person on their second visit, we'll usually take them to see resident apartments. Sometimes on the first visit, but it kind of depends. Because we are taking them into someone's private home, so we usually want to kind of do our little screening first before we bring strangers to see you, but that's a way to meet people. Yeah. What means do you have to travel to places such as restaurants and bookstores?
We have a bus service, stops right at the door. It runs all day, I don't know,
You mean the M4?
yes,
Yep.
that takes us up to Wisconsin,
Mhm. I think it stops near Politics and Prose too.
yes.
Couple of doors down.
Yeah.
Yeah. What means do you use to get around?
We still have our car,
Mhm.
so we use it most of the time. Of course, when we go on excursions that are planned by Knollwood, we go on their bus.
So you take the Knollwood bus
Yes.
sometimes. Do you ever use the M4 or Uber?
I have not yet.
Mhm.
I will someday, I'm sure, but as long as we're driving, we'll keep on.
Mhm.
Of course, in DC, the question is, where you're gonna go, do you have parking,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Because that's an important thing,
That's why I sometimes take the M4 bus, because I don't have to worry about schlepping the car.
yeah.
And just about all parking is parallel parking. So practice before you come.
That's good too. How about you, Nancy?
Well, I take the Knollwood bus. It takes me to the market. It takes me to various events that we've talked about. And I also take the municipal bus M4, which takes us to Tinleytown, and the metro station is there if you can catch the metro. So
I've also seen you traveling by foot to the farm market by the Broad Branch Market.
yeah,
So foot travel also works for
but
certain.
travel work.
What excursions does Knollwood plan? A lot of questions from the folks today.
Many.
Many.
We went to the, I guess you'd call it the district fair that we went to.
County fair.
County fair, it's like a county fair, one time, that was interesting. It was an all-way trip, so,
they have a lot of trips to Kennedy Center, various things. Kennedy Center.
Also art museums. And there are always guided tours in museums. In fact, there was one recent where the museum opened 45 minutes early just for Knollwood people to come in for the museum tour.
What museum was that?
I cannot remember.
Was it the
right now.
Phillips?
Yes,
Was
I
it?
believe it was.
They're very considerate.
Well, and I've been to thrift shops, which are always fun, and gardens, which are
Yes.
beautiful. Went to the National Cathedral for the flower show. So there's just a huge variety of fun things to do.
Men can go to the baseball game.
Yeah.
Women can too, I guess, if they're interested.
So did you have to change allegiances?
Yes,
yeah.
it's been hard.
That's true. Yeah, when you come from out of state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the men's group go some places sometimes.
Yeah, the men's group has various tours. They were at the Lincoln Summer Home a couple of weeks ago.
I've never been there yet. Never been there.
And other place recently. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know they've gone to places like the Glenstone, Brookside Gardens, the Ubar Hazy, in Virginia. I was fortunate enough, I got to tag along once to a brewery.
We do that, and also there's a restaurant to go to almost every month. It's interesting.
Mhm. So fun things. So I don't know if anybody else has any more questions for people who live here, but if you do, now's the time to key them in. What would you want viewers to know before they move to Knollwood? Anything that is
It's
advice?
Extremely friendly place. You walk in, you immediately have 200 new friends.
Oh, that's very nice.
Well, and I found the business office was super helpful. I had a lot of questions and, transferring money from California and all that stuff. They were very helpful to me in navigating that.
I think the staff is accessible. Wherever we have a question.
if you've got a question, staff is willing to answer it. Now, the person that you talk to first may say, you know, talk to so-and-so, because they know more about it than I do, so you get, you know, the good word from right out of the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Can I give a quick example?
Sure.
We were parked in a parking place where there's a limb that comes over the car and the birds sit on the limb.
Oh,
And you know what happens to the hood of our car. So we wash it and it happens the next day and the next and the next. And finally, Monty went to the front desk and said, I've got this problem. And 15 minutes later, somebody was out there taking a picture of the car and the mess on the car and let Monty know that they were looking into it to see if either the limb could be cut or we could get a new parking place. So I thought that was a quick answer.
Well, and I would say all my life I've done my own cleaning. I come here and someone cleans the apartment for me. It is bliss.
that's true, yeah. Is Knollwood children friendly?
Yes.
Very much so.
Can you give any examples, or what is your experience? How do you know?
Well, I've seen kids playing ball on the lawn, flying kites. We have a lovely patio with a big green area in between, and the kids are throwing balls and having a ball out there, or eating with their parents and grandparents. And did any come for Halloween dressed up?
I don't think so. I think that was only the residents.
Only the
Residents dressed up, yes.
One example, I pick up my granddaughter from school every Friday. And between the time we walk in the door and we get to my apartment, I'll bet 10 people have spoken with her or stopped her to talk.
So she already knows people here.
And she feels welcome here. She says they like me there.
Oh, how old is she?
She's 8.
Going on 16.
Danger. Yeah. How about what's your perspective on children friendliness at Knollwood?
My grandsons have more friends here than I do. They, you know, people from coming so often.
I think people here at Knollwood just sort of are drawn to children.
Monty, I came from New York. If I might ask, where does your daughter reside?
She lives in the Lower East Side on
Grand Street.
on Grant
Grant.
Street, yeah.
Okay.
She's in a high rise there. She and her family.
How often does the cleaning service come? For
Every week.
Every week, yes. Have you taken advantage of the annual deep cleaning yet?
No, when do I get that?
Well, yes. You have to call them. They do once a
Call
year.
as soon
Yeah, they get under, move the bed out of the way and go behind the fridge and all that kind of stuff,
Oh,
yeah.
And they are prompt and pleasant.
Yeah, the staff here is wonderful, really. They are just exceptional, I think.
Now, I don't know if any of you have pets, but someone is asking if Knollwood is pet friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Many dogs and cats.
And I know
You
that,
don't see them that often or don't hear them that often.
yeah, when they're coming and going, maybe, because they're not really allowed in the common areas. But yeah, I think the dogs get seen more because some people will have to take them outside
Oh, yeah.
for a little exercise. But, yeah. What exercise programs and classes are offered?
Well, yoga, sit and fit, stretch and exercise. What's that one called?
Balance.
Stretch and balance.
Zumba.
Pool, which I love,
Zumba.
Zumba.
But Sit and Fit is held twice a week and they get a crowd of people in there.
Yeah, it's geared toward all levels.
Mm.
And I know the pool you can use either on your own for laps or you can take a water exercise class, or you could just do water walking when there's not a class going on. Does one hear dogs barking? I mean, the walls at Knollwood are actually concrete block walls
Yeah.
between the apartments. So I don't know that you would hear that
Yeah.
unless you were outside with the dog.
One lives next door to us and we do not hear him.
We got some really good questions today. Now, I wonder if any of the viewers want to come and have lunch or dinner with any of these four. Send us an email, or maybe you might want to take a peek in some apartments at Knollwood, but you can, or put your email address in the chat box or your phone number, and we can get in touch with you that way. Or you can call us directly at 202-541-0149. Or 202-790-5619. Yep. And let's see, what do you like most about Knollwood? We'll have that as our final question, unless there's more viewer questions.
The thing that I like most is the friendliness of the people.
I have to second that.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Just felt welcome right away.
yes.
What happened to make you feel welcome right away?
People asked who I was and where I was from and how I like Knollwood, and no, the pool is down this corridor, not that corridor. And I got lost. There were lots of people to direct me.
I think at Knollwood, when you come in and you're new to Knollwood, there will be people that will be quizzing you about yourself. Find out a little about you, your background, maybe where you're from, that sort of thing.
What made me feel comfortable was I met Ellie Wheeler. And Ellie is I think she's 94.
She's been here for a
Today's her
long
birthday.
time.
Yes, and been here for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
And she just makes everybody feel welcome and at home, and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
What I could say about Ellie is she's a big personality, and I think everybody here knows Ellie.
Okay.
There's a show put on by the residents, I guess, once a year. And when I moved in the first day, she met me in the hall and she said, "Jim, do you sing?" I said, "No, Ellie, I don't sing." And that went on for about 2 weeks and finally she gave up.
I know that there is gonna be a show this year. I'm privy to a little insider information. But apparently one of the residents, Bob Norris, actually wrote a play. And Victor, who is the facilitator, the moderator of the men's group, is helping with the production of it. So so that's gonna be pretty interesting. So,
Well, and we have a resident who is a cellist with the National Philharmonic Orchestra, and we
Oh,
get
yeah.
concerts from her every now and then. We have a expert ukulele player, and we were treated to a concert by her group. So there's lots to do.
yeah, there are a lot of musicians
Writes
here.
books and plays the ukulele.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, she's an author and plays ukulele. Yeah, in the Tri-State Ukulele Orchestra.
Waiting for my paper today, the
Oh.
newspaper.
Will we share a newspaper?
Yes, whenever, she's not here all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, she spends, I think, half the time in West Virginia, half the time here. This is what is the average age of residents. The average age moving in is in upper 70s. The average age of people living here, I think, is 81, might be 80. We've had some, but you have to be 62 to live here. And, every year there's a handful of people that move in their 60s, people that move in their 70s, people that move in their 80s. It's harder, I think once people hit 90 or even upper 80s, sometimes it's harder to be still eligible from a health perspective. But you can meet a 95-year-old that's as healthy as a 65-year-old, and you can meet there could be a 65-year-old calling us up, but their health is that of a 90-year-old, so. And there are
There's a
people,
resident here who has a cat that is 23 years old.
the residents 23. Oh, I know the cat. I know.
Residents out 70 or something.
And when people do move in, Alisi actually does introductory little notices to everybody that will be living on the same floor. And if people have a pet, that introduction also includes the pet, so they're not left out. You have one more.
He just.
Okay. Oh, so anyway, Robert Spiegel says, thanks Nancy, Monty, Bev, Jim, and Carolyn. You're welcome. Thank you for watching, Robert. And I think that's it for today. So thank you and goodbye, everybody. And thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
You know, with the laugh track in the back. Thank you, everybody.
That wasn't.